This is not peaceful, dissent. This is a violent assault on American democracy perpetrated by Trump, Cruz, Hawley, and incited by them as well, and their gutless colleagues in Congress. The thing that bothers me is that it's on all of the news coverage, the television news coverage, it says that Congress's vote count was interrupted. We're not counting votes. Congress has no role in that. That is the state's job exclusively. And each individual state has counted many times, and in many states by hand where necessary, the votes signed, sealed, and delivered. This is an acceptance of the vote counts that occurred at the state level, and that's why all the lawsuits that were filed, withdrawn, or dismissed were completed before this process came to us. So there's no vote counting here. Make no mistake about it. The votes have been counted, and this was a free and fair election, as confirmed by the courts at the state and the federal level, as confirmed by the president's own appointed attorney general. And you have this, there's going to be people killed by the end of this day. This is a horrible situation. It's an insurrection, and it's being incited by Trump, Cruz, Hawley, and every one of the gutless congressional colleagues that have given consent to this insurrection. It's a direct threat on our democracy and the health and safety of good, innocent people.
Can you tell us where you were when this all started to boil over?
Yeah, I just finished an interview with the Buffalo News in my office. I was on my way over to the Capitol, and I got a message from U.S. Capitol Police that we were prohibited from entering or exiting the Capitol. So this was just 2:11 today. And you've got, Steve, I don't know if you've been here, but the security here is considerable, and a lot of this is post 9/11.
Yes, sir. Been there a number of times, and I'm somewhat familiar.
That's right. You did the national stuff as well. Here's my concern. I'm concerned that congressional members, I don't know this for certain, have been a party to this and somehow allowing protesters to enter the Capitol, because the Capitol is well secured on any given day. And part of the policing for the U.S. Capitol Police, along with the other policing agencies, D.C. Police, the National Guard, whoever's needed, it's all about anticipating what the crowd will be and what is a necessary complement of police officers to ensure both the crowd is kept safe, because as you know, when you have protests, you have counter-protesters, things escalate and people get hurt. But this is an insurrection. Look at the United States Capitol. It has been taken over by protesters. This is a violent assault on the Capitol and our democracy. This is unprecedented in our history.
Do I understand it correctly that you fear or suspect that members of Congress may have assisted this?
My concern is that first of all, why the security breakdown as it has occurred? The U.S. Capitol at the moment is a chaotic scene, and it doesn't appear that anybody was prepared for this. I am concerned, and it should be investigated, that some members of Congress may be complicit in this by perhaps allowing protesters to get in, perhaps providing intelligence as to where the security breaches may be. Yeah, I think all of this has to be looked at. tell you, shame on those members of Congress, both House and Senate, that are encouraging this, knowing full well that President Trump not only got beat, he got clobbered. Joe Biden beat him by more than 7 million votes, more than 7 million votes. Joe Biden receiving 81 million votes is more votes than any president has received in United States history. He won the electoral vote. He won by 4 percentage points. And he won the popular vote. Trump didn't even win the popular vote 4 years ago. And there's some irregularity here. 6 states are being contested today on the floor, right? And it takes it takes a member of the House and a member of the Senate to contest the certified election result from a given state, right? There have been at least seven and 8 court proceedings, all of which resulted in a dismissal or a withdrawal from the president's legal team or Republicans from those individual states because there was no finding of any irregularity and certainly no fraud. And now you have violent protesters who are in the chamber as we speak, who are in the Senate chamber as we speak, who are infiltrating offices. This is a horrible situation.
Can it be anticipated that later today or tomorrow that the U.S. Congress can get back to work? It doesn't seem so.
Well, I don't know. Here's the problem you've got. If the policing agencies, in this case, because it's large, it's basically crowd control is what it is. Well, it's a hard one for police to balance, but they try, is to protect people's constitutional right to free speech, right?
Of course.
But at the same time, making sure that speech and assembly, it's very hard to get back to that once the thing hit out of control. The trick here is you're going to have a guard that's being dispatched. You're going to have more policing agencies, and there is a greater likelihood of escalating an already tense situation. Whereas if this was properly planned for and executed and anticipated, this is what policing agencies do in the United States Capitol. They anticipate what the crime is going to be in terms of size, and then find an appropriate complement as to the number of police officers that are necessary to ensure that everybody's safe. Something went terribly wrong here, and it's a major security breach. It's an epic failure, and I am concerned that members who are seeking to create dissent and to create a chaotic situation may be complicit in this, and they should be investigated.
Who should do the investigating? Congress, DOJ, FBI, who?
Congress has an oversight responsibility, but I think it perhaps should be the Department of Justice. There should be some objective agency that has the gravitas to do a comprehensive and fair investigation and bring charges to those who are responsible accordingly.
Before we let you go, is there anything you want to say to the folks back home?
We need to be better sons and daughters to the nation. And whatever political differences that we have, they should be expressed and resolved peacefully. And nobody is ever going to agree with everybody else. But we have the greatest democracy in the history of the world. And we are the envy of the world because of that. And when you see, and when people throughout the world, and they're going to see it, when you see what's happening at the United States Capitol with this, this chaos, it benefits people like Vladimir Putin in Russia. It benefits people like Viktor Orban in Hungary, because these are autocratic governments that say to their own people, look, you don't want this democracy thing. Right now, we look like a communist country that is being attacked for no good reason by its own people. This is an insurrection based on a president that has encouraged these protesters to come to the Capitol and do what it is they're doing now. And while millions of people are dying of COVID-19, he is silent to that and has been since the middle of summer, where he said he bears no responsibility for that. But he bears responsibility for this, and he ought to be a man. He ought to be a man with his own family, and use the authority that he has with his people to encourage them to move away from the Capitol. If they want to protest peacefully, they can do that. But this is an insurrection, and it should not be tolerated, particularly in America. And I believe all Western New Yorkers, regardless of their political affiliation, regardless of who they voted for in the presidential election, are good people that by and large support peaceful dissent. This is not peaceful dissent.